Hi, Dave Jones here again. We're going to look at the minor pentatonic scale. It's a closed position scale, this one. That means there's no open strings in it, but it's also a movable scale form. That means that once you've learnt the fingering pattern for it, you can play it in any key, or in all 12 keys. So the minor pentatonic scale is probably the most used scale in rock, blues, improvisation, or certainly at a beginner level anyway. So what I'll do is I'll show you a close-up of the fingering of it, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, the scale we're going to look at is the A minor pentatonic scale. Now, the reason I'm using A is no particular reason, it's just that it's mid-neck. I'm starting at the 5th fret on the thick E string with my first finger. And it just saves, I'll go into the fact that you can move it about later on, but what we're going to do is we'll start fret 5 on the thick E string with the first finger, fret 8 on the thick E string with the 4th finger, fret 5 on the A string with the first finger, fret 7 on the A string with the 3rd finger, fret 5 on the D string with the first finger, fret 7 on the D string with the 3rd finger, fret 5 on the G string with the first finger, fret 7 on the G string with the 3rd finger, fret 5 on the B string with the first finger, fret 8 on the B string with the 4th finger, and fret 5 on the high E string with the first finger. So that's your minor pentatonic scale, and you should practice that from the, as usual, if you're following these scale lessons, you should practice it from the deepest note in the scale, up the scale to the highest note in that particular scale, the same note, in other words A, and back down again without repeating the top note. If you're looking at the PDF on the website, there is a lesson up on how to read these scale shapes, scale forms as well, but the black dots show you the root note. In other words, that note's A, there's another black dot you'll see on the PDF, that note's A, and that note's A. That says you can start to locate the notes on the fingerboard and know what they're called. So you play it up to the top note without repeating the top note, and then back down again. Okay, yeah, so that's the minor pentatonic scale. It's a movable scale form. Like I said, you can play it in any key because there's no open strings in it. Whatever fret you start at, and on the PDF, if you're printing it off, there's a table at the bottom that tells you the fret numbers on the guitar and the name of the note found at that fret. So I played that in A, like I say, simply because it's mid-neck, so I start at the 5th fret, that's the note A, and that created an A minor pentatonic scale, learning that fingering pattern. If I'd started it at the 7th fret, that's the note B, that would have given me a B minor pentatonic scale without me practicing or learning any new fingering. If I'd started at the note G, which is the 3rd fret, etc., that would have given me a G minor pentatonic scale. If I'd started it, just for argument's sake, if I started at the, just so you get the idea, if I started at the 4th fret, that will give me an A flat or a G sharp minor pentatonic scale. So it's the same fingering pattern, and it gives you a different scale letter name to fit over different keys. But like I said before, it's very important that when you're using these scales, it's very important that you start to learn to use the scale in as a basis for improvisation, to create and develop licks and phrases in one scale before moving on to another. So the minor pentatonic is probably the most common scale in like say rock, pop music. So once you've got the scale and you can play it accurately, evenly, without making too many mistakes, you start to develop the coordination between the hands, start to create little licks and phrases. There's some lessons up on slurring techniques. First of all, just start mixing the notes up in the scale. But then once you can do that, you could start to make it sound more guitar-like by adding what's called slurring techniques. Like I say, there's some lessons up on that on the website. Things like hammer-ons. That's where you you hold one note down and you bang onto the next string with the tip of your this finger, hammer-ons. The opposite of that, leaving the two fingers on the same string, is the pull-off idea. And you can also start to create some string bends. The best bend in that particular scale to start with, if you've never bent before, is the third string, the G string, with the third finger. And you can leave all three fingers on the same string, thumb over the top supporting, and you bend from the wrist and the whole forearm there, and you can start creating little phrases. And you start to create little phrases and leave little gaps, and eventually you'll start to develop your own sort of licks. Again, there's lessons on licks up on the website and all these techniques like sliding, but putting them all together in the scale, play over some songs. Lots of songs in the key of A minor. If you're using the A minor scale, you could Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication. The majority of the song, apart from the solo at the end, is all in the key of A minor. That A minor pentatonic scale would fit brilliantly over the top of it. So I hope you found that useful, and good luck with that, and I'll see you again sometime.